a result of this change, we've essentially relooked at the business, and as a result of it, essentially, your position is essentially no longer required.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey guys, how you doing? As you could tell from the title of this video, I was recently laid off from my job. And while I have mixed feelings and mixed emotions regarding that, what I'm not feeling is sad. To give a high-level overview of why I was laid off, my department was going through some restructuring, and it was determined by leadership that my position was no longer needed. I had been with the organization for over 3.5 years. The majority of that time, I had been the only employee in my department, and I really thought that I would be with them for at least another 3 years. But you know, life has a way of altering your plans without you really knowing that that's going to be a thing. Again, I'm not sad. I'm relieved. I am kind of excited that I now have all of this time to myself to figure out what it is that I want to do going forward. This is not my first rodeo with being laid off. I've been laid off before in the past, probably over 10 years ago. The difference between now and then is that at that time I was not as financially stable. And so I rushed into getting back into the workforce as soon as I possibly could. I was stressed, constantly applying for jobs, running myself ragged, trying to get back to work without really sitting with myself and thinking and being more strategic about what I wanted to do. I was just looking for anything to get back to work so that I could have some income coming in. This time around, I'm a little bit older, I'm a little bit more wiser, and I'm a bit more financially secure. I'm thankful that my organization thought enough of me to provide me with a severance package. So that is definitely going to help tide me over for a while. I also have some money in savings that will also help extend that severance package if necessary. I would like to be back to work within 3 months. And I want to enjoy this time that I have off, but I would like to be back to work within 3 months. I don't know if that's going to happen or how possible that is, given that we are in this really challenging time in our economy and in our job market. It is not easy right now for a lot of people. And this is not the time to be unemployed. Absolutely not. I know that, I acknowledge that, but at the same time, I truly believe that things are going to work out for my best self. I truly believe that. I don't want to talk about what my word of the year was that I set for the beginning of the year, but I'll go ahead and talk about it. We're being transparent today. The word that I selected for myself at the beginning of this year was favored. I will be favored. I truly believe that. I have no doubt in my mind that this layoff was one of the best things to happen to me this year. And one of the things that I have come to learn as I've gotten older is that a lot of times your perspective and how you approach situations really does determine the type of outcome that you're going to have, right? Perspective is everything. They say it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it, right? And it took me a long time to get that. And I finally think I've gotten that lesson. And so I am taking this situation and applying a sense of gratitude. Gratitude that I now have more time for myself. I have time to rest. I have time to think and tap back into my creativity. I have time to think about what's next for me instead of just rushing back into the job market. I have time to be a little bit more strategic about, do I want to pivot in my industry? Do I want to try a different industry altogether? Do I want to start a business? Do I want to create content full time? Do I want to do a combination of 9 to 5 and more content creation? I really get to think about it this time and make my next move my best move without feeling stressed. When I was laid off, while I was disappointed, again, because I kind of had some indication from my intuition that this was going to happen, I was disappointed because in February, when I was having this feeling, I asked someone who I had a very close working relationship with, and so I thought a great personal relationship with, if I had anything to be concerned about. And that person looked me dead in my face and told me no. Only for a month and a half later for me to be laid off for the very thing that I expressed concern about. There are so many things that I passed up on doing because I was too tired from work and I didn't have the mental or physical capacity to do those things, and now I can. And it's crazy that as soon as I was laid off, I was reached out to for a brand collaboration. And I haven't had one of those in ages, in years, literally years. I spoke about the fact that I'm now unemployed on my social media channels, and other brands have reached out to me and wanting to collaborate as well. So I'm not a believer that everything happens for a reason. Sometimes shit just be happening just to be happening. And you be like, what the fuck? Like, universe, you could have just kept that, because what was the reason? But for me, in this particular situation, I do feel like it happened for a reason. And it was because I desperately needed a recalibration in my life. I desperately needed more work-life balance, and I needed to take a break mentally to decide what's really important in my life and what is it that I really want to do and what's going to make me happy going forward. And I'm so grateful and appreciative that I have time to do that now. So I'm grateful. I'm excited to see what happens next. I don't know exactly what's going to happen next. I do know that I'm going to create more content. This is actually going to be a series on my channel called Housewife with No Husband series. And the reason why I call it that is I've been saying that about my unemployed self for years. Over 10 years ago, I was unemployed. And when people met me and asked me what I did for a living, I would tell them I was a housewife with no husband. And it would take people a while to figure out what I meant by that. But essentially, I was unemployed. I was living like a housewife. All of my bills were still paid, but there was no husband attached to me being a housewife. So that's what I call it when I'm not working, the housewife with no husband. And so that's going to be a series. I'm just going to be bringing you guys along in my everyday life of what I do while I am in this new chapter of my life at 41, moving back to Houston, no job, but, you know, figuring life out all over again with a much better perspective and attitude about the fact that I'm not working. So I hope that that's something that you will tune in for. If that's something that you're interested in, please subscribe now, share, comment, like, do all of the engagement things. I really would like to grow this channel, but I can't do it without you. And so I'm really going to tap in and start creating more content. This is 1 week post being laid off. So we're probably going to pick up on week 2. I really just took this week off to just rest. I did a lot of community service and volunteering to stay busy physically and mentally. But I still had some mental sorting to do, and there wasn't really much to record, and I didn't want to come and talk to you guys until I had gathered my thoughts. So yeah, this next chapter is going to be me figuring out what's next. I also will be posting some previous travel blogs that I had recorded long ago on some trips that I had taken, and I had just never gotten around to editing and posting here. I still think you will enjoy those vlogs. And so, not to talk too much, this video is already almost 13 minutes long. I'm just going to be pouring more into this channel and trying to be more consistent. My goal is to post 1 video per week. and to post more on my other social media channels, but YouTube is going to be my priority. YouTube and my blog. If you have not visited my blog, it is www.theworldismine.co. It is all about travel, lifestyle, and my personal style. And so I always have the link for that in the description box below. For those of you who still like to read and still enjoy blogs. So I know that you guys probably have so many more questions. I do want to say I will not be divulging the name of the company just for my privacy and theirs. I really don't want to talk much more about them as that chapter in my life has ended. However, if you do have questions about my former role or my unemployment status or anything else that you might want to ask me that you haven't been able to ask me before, I welcome those comments down below. I would love to engage with you there. If there are things that you want to see on this YouTube channel now that I have more time to film and I'm not working, I would love to hear that as well. For those people who have supported me up until this point, I want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I wouldn't be able to maintain this sense of motivation to continue producing content without you and your support. So I want to say thank you so much. I love you guys, and until the next video, y'all have a good one. Come back and see me. See what's next. Bye.